it's been really interesting. I owe everything to MOMnation because I have met so many incredible women in MOMnation, and who I need to be, coming from the heart, coming from the heart.
Hey, Mom Nation. Welcome to our From the Heart podcast, where we share inspirational stories, useful information, and we discuss a wide variety of women-related topics. While you're listening to this episode on your favorite podcast platform, please subscribe to our channel and rate us so that we can get this information out to the moms that need to hear it. If you'd like to join the conversation, we are at MOMnation USA. That's our handle on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. We hope you enjoy the show.
Hey y'all, Katie here, founder of MOMnation and owner and operator of Team EvoAZ at eXp Realty, your go-to gal for anything real estate in the state of Arizona. I am the sponsor of today's show. I will link my page and information in the show notes so you can quickly and easily get in touch with me should you need anything real estate, any advice, or maybe you're looking to get into the business. I sure hope you enjoy today's show. Thanks for listening.
Hey, Mom Nation, we are back with another episode of From the Heart, where we share inspirational stories, useful information, and we discuss a wide variety of women-related topics. Please give us a like and a follow. We are at MOMnation USA on all of your social media platforms. That is our handle. And also on your favorite podcast platform, just look up MOMnation Talk Radio, and you can catch this show along with many others of our awesome shows that we do here with MOMnation. It's all really just about to help you guys out. We focus, as you know, MOMnation focuses on the mom. We do things with kiddos and we love our kiddos, of course, and that's definitely a big topic of conversation. But here we really focus on the mom. So if that's something you think you need in your life, then definitely check us out. We are here for part two. You all have seen this guest before. I'd like to welcome Sara Pitcher back to the show. Welcome, Sara.
Thank you.
And a couple of weeks ago, we spoke with Sara, and that was our part one, and we were talking about what happened to her. And Sara, now you have been since then, and even before then, have been on the news sharing your story in all sorts of places. So I'm sure that that's been quite a whirlwind of activity for you. And I also know that you are a huge supporter of domestic violence awareness, and you have something coming up here in the next month. Do you want to briefly talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm partnering with Pinal County's attorney's office, the county attorney office, and we're doing a domestic violence walk. It's October 15th at Prospect Park out in Apache Junction. And I can put the link in the show title or, in the comments or whatever, but you can just Google domestic violence walk Apache Junction and it'll come up. You can register two different ways. If you want the shirt and you're interested in getting all that, it's $30. If you can't participate that way, you can just bring a household item to donate, and then you can just come and participate and walk that way. So we want everybody to be able to come. There's going to be fun bounce houses. There's going to be a lot of vendor events, things like that. For that day, and then just kind of have some fun and get to know everybody, and I'll be there kind of sharing more of my story, and then we are also doing a self-defense class, I think on the 10th of October too. So I'll have all those details, but it's with Mindset Survival, so it'll be pretty cool.
Awesome. We love Steve Branch with Mindset Survival. Big shout out to him. And this is for our Arizona moms. So this is specifically being held in the Phoenix, Arizona area. For our moms that are not Arizona moms, I'm assuming that they can connect with the DV Walk in their state, depending on when that may be.
Yeah, there actually, if you don't have one, there is a virtual option that you can participate in ours, and you can do it virtually. And if you want the shirt, we can send it to you. And then you can kind of post, photos and walk with us virtually that morning. So
awesome.
Try to find something local, but if not, we couldn't find anything local. And so we just decided to start it. And if you can't find anything and you want to start, we'd love to walk alongside you and help you start one in your local area too.
Awesome. So connect with Sarah on that if you're not in the Phoenix area, or if you are in the Phoenix area and you want more information, if you're not in the Phoenix area and you want to do it virtually, connect with Sarah, and her information is here in the show notes. All right, Sarah. So last we left you, for those of you who maybe didn't catch episode 1, definitely do. Just look up in our podcast episode through the directory, I guess. Look for episode 1. You can find it on YouTube as well at MOMnation USA is the handle. We last left you at the end of the story. If you guys remember, Sarah's ex-husband came to Arizona to kill her. There's just no other way to say it. And you escaped, and I get the chills already just thinking of you in that moment and what you were needing to do at that time. And so you escaped. We heard that part. That was kind of where we left off. We know there's a trial and whatnot, but what are the details between escape and now you're at the point where he's been convicted? And I mean, that was just such a wonderful moment for you, I'm sure. So take us from that point forward.
Yeah. So it's been a long road. It's been very interesting. So after they caught him up in Yavapai County and held him up there. He was there for, I think it was about 72 hours, maybe. Excuse me. And then they extradited him down to Maricopa County because that's where it happened. So they questioned him. The night they questioned him, he admitted to everything.
Really?
Yeah, he admitted to doing all of it. His motive was a little different. His motive was that he came to make amends to the marriage, and then he saw a text message that didn't really exist and decided to kind of flip out, and that's why it all happened. But he admitted to everything. Then they extradited him down to Maricopa. He had like an arraignment hearing or something at 1 p.m. at night. And I ended up not going. I did kind of do an impact statement for them. But we were all very worried about him possibly getting out because there's sometimes very liberal things. And so there was a possibility that he could have gotten out on, probation or parole and, things like that. So we were up. I had a hotel that was possibly ready to be rented, since he knew where I was, where my mom was. And he got in Yavapai County, he had a $250,000 cash bail, no bond. I think I said that right. And then when they extradited him down here and had his hearing down here, they did allow bail. And then if he got out on bail, he had to be in a house with an ankle bracelet. So that was scary, but thankfully nobody posted. No, nobody had the money. So he stayed in there for 4 years, almost 4 years. It'll be 4 years and 2 days actually. And I struggled for a while. I moved in with my mom and my brother in their house, and my sister-in-law was still in New York trying to fight her own custody battles and stuff. So I didn't do much. I worked a little bit. Kind of coaching was kind of my outlet, just being able to still help people. But I went to the grocery with my mom. I remember my eye was horrible because I'm legally blind now. And so I remember it was completely swollen shut. Even I have pictures like Halloween night where it was still black and blue. So we're talking a month and a half later. The doctors told me that it would never move. It would never open. It would never track. It would never do any of that. So I remember like just standing in the mirror and like holding it open like this and trying to like make it stay open. And I could close it, but I couldn't open it. And, I was so afraid. I love children and they're so innocent. And I never wanted to be scary to a child. And I knew that looking at me, I was scary. So that broke my heart. And I remember I went and did some counseling. Luckily, I had a lot of people that came around me and donated to my GoFundMe, and churches that helped with bills and, medical things and stuff like that. And I had someone that paid for some counseling sessions until I could get like the victim services and compensation around to pay for it. But I remember I did some EMDR work, which is incredible work. If you haven't done it, it's amazing to do around trauma work and stuff like that. But I remember doing that, and I remember just being like, no matter what, like God's still good, and that was really the shifting point to where I started being healed, and I started being okay with going out without my sunglasses, because I would wear my sunglasses all the time when I was out. And I remember after that session, my mom was like, oh, we stopped at Walmart, and I was like, didn't put my sunglasses on. She goes, don't you want your sunglasses? And it's nice. No, it's okay. And I just remember that the healing just started, and I went back to the doctor, and my eye was kind of opening more, and it was kind of moving. And he was like, well, I wouldn't get too much hope, but it looks like something's going on. I don't know that you'll ever see, which I still don't see yet, but you never know what'll happen in my lifetime. But so that was a huge blessing, and that kind of gave me a little bit more confidence. And then I actually went to a vision school and started learning how to do things different, because it's really hard. Like if you drive down the street and put, one hand over an eye, like your depth perception's off, you really appreciate the like painted lines on the sidewalks and stuff, because you can't tell, so I wanted to do everything I could to live a normal life. So I went to vision school. I went to a driving school to learn kind of how to gauge, like if you can't see the back of the tire of the car in front of you, you're probably going to hit the bumper. So, I definitely had to learn how to do life differently. And so for about 6 months, I didn't do anything except go to doctor's appointments and kind of counseling and things like that. And then after 6 months, I started to kind of drive and got my license back. And I went on a girls' trip to Florida and kind of just started branching out a little bit more. But I've done tons of counseling on and off. I go through spurts where I feel like I really need it and I'm processing a lot. And then I go through things where, I'm okay and, feel like I'm doing good. So we've had lots of court cases and trials and things that have been postponed. And, he tried to plead insanity, and that was thrown out. He tried to plead, I don't even remember what it was called, but that he didn't understand what was going on. And they had him evaluated by 2 doctors, and they said, you're fine, you can stand trial. So he wanted it to go to trial. And frankly, I thought we would get more time if we went to trial. So we finally, it was July, I want to say July 16th, maybe 12th, something like that. But it did start. It was about 6 weeks of trial. And I went on the stand, my mom, my brother went on the stand, and then he actually took the stand too. So
Wow.
It was a long, intense time. You learn so much about the whole court hearing and systems and stuff like that. But
Right.
I think they brought on 120 jurors to start out with, and then they narrowed it down to 16, and then 12 would go in the back room after. So they had kind of alternates, I guess. And there were multiple things that, I learned during the trial that I didn't even know. The detectives were really good at keeping me informed, but they couldn't tell me everything. And even I was able to get all the paperwork and stuff, but even at that, I still didn't know everything that I learned. And so I remember the opening statement, the prosecutor asked me if I wanted to be in the courtroom, and she goes, I'm not sure that you do. And I said, no, I do. I want to hear it all. And I remember just hearing some of the things that she said that I had never heard. And some of the Google searches that he did were horrific, things
Whoa.
like, this is going to be R-rated, but like, how do you fuck someone that is, not like coherent? How do you hold someone down and have sex with them?
And this is on Google? Like there's answers?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had never known, I knew that he had searched all the ways he tried to kill me. So how do you suffocate someone with a plastic bag? How do you, sprays, like by spraying someone with Raid, what happens when they have asthma? So he thought I had asthma. How do you kill someone by sticking a knife in them? How do you, can someone die by stabbing a screwdriver in the eye? Multiple things like that. And so, how long does it take for someone to stop breathing when you're suffocating them? What are vital organs to stab to kill someone? All these different things were searches that he did on his phone.
So they confiscated his phone, obviously.
They did. Yep. They confiscated both phones. So there were two different phones. He had a burn phone. I used to have a photography business in Indiana. And when I came here, I did it for a little while. And he ended up contacting me from the burn phone. And he wanted to go to, I guess there's something called Kissing Point at Camelback Mountain. And he wanted to go there with his fiance, and they wanted to hire me to take pictures of them at Kissing Point. And come to find out it was him trying to get me out to Camelback Mountain so he could kill me out there. So, but that was crazy because I didn't know that, at all.
And you didn't know it was him?
No, I didn't know that. No.
Wow. And did you get like a weird feeling when you got that call?
A little bit, yeah. And it was a text message. They didn't call at all. And then there was a Facebook account that was created that was very interesting. And we do a lot of like co-mentoring and things of different health coaches. And so someone had reached out to me, and it turned out just by the things that he said and stuff that I found out that I knew it was him. But he played it out to be like a woman and, wanted to be my friend and wanted me to mentor her. And, then she started having a son that was possibly single and interested and, things like that. So it became pretty clear pretty quick that it was him. So, which is, I guess, a typical like narcissistic behavior, trying to kind of gaslight or get you to talk to other people and see if you're going to do something like that. So, but those were all things that I didn't know. I mean, I had no clue what a narcissist was. I had no clue what anything like that was before all this. So, it was a lot to learn and a lot to take in,
So Google searches, Facebook page, burner phone, anything else that she brought to the attention of the court during trial that you weren't aware of?
There were, so I knew that he had been watching me. There were videos that he took from like staircases far away, and he would like video the outside of my apartment. I knew that they had run him off. There was a father that ran him off once, but it was multiple times, and they had conversations with him. I think that one person heard me screaming, but there were multiple people that heard screams. People out on their patio with coffee, just hearing like a mortifying scream, but not knowing where it came from, and just continued to drink their coffee.
Wow.
So that was interesting to kind of find out.
Did any of those people come to the courtroom and testify?
They did. Yeah.
How could they look you in the eye? Oh, I'm going to cry.
I don't know that they knew it was me. But
I know, but still, like after the fact,
yeah,
and I'm sure that they got a good dose of the story.
Yeah,
Wow.
It was interesting. Yeah, both of those, the person that had coffee and then the person that ran him off, they were both there. So,
and that dad, he thought something was going. He suspected something was going on, right?
Yeah, but he thought he was kind of looking in the room for like his daughter's room and trying to see his daughter and be like a peeping Tom. They never thought it was somebody else.
Wow. So this is shocking for you to learn as you're sitting there.
Yeah, it was very interesting. And I did learn that, so he tried to press charges against my brother and I, because my brother had called him. He had made a phone call to my sister-in-law the Wednesday before all this happened and said some pretty nasty things. And so my brother, of course, protecting me and his wife, called him and said, don't call my family, don't call my sister, don't call my wife, leave her alone or I'll kill you, And then I called the police, and the police, you can't get an order of protection or a restraining order unless you know where the person is, because they can't serve him. So I didn't know where he was, and the police tried to call him and call him and call him, and he wouldn't answer. And so my brother said, well, why don't you meet him somewhere and I'll be around the corner, I'll hold him, and then you can call the police and they can serve him. So he took that as we were plotting to kill him, and we were gonna, like my brother was gonna be there, and he said my brother always has a gun on him, and so he was gonna kill him, and so he wanted to press charges against us. So I guess it was 2 weeks after he was arrested, he asked a sheriff to come, and he wanted to press charges against us. Well, he went ahead and went into the whole story again and admitted everything again, which is very interesting, because 4 years later, he said that he didn't do any of it. So when he got on the stand,
right?
Yeah, on the stand, he turned everything around. He said that he didn't do any of it. He said he stabbed me, but it was by mistake. So he went there early for breakfast. We were supposed to have lunch together, and we were talking, and he had left the knife on the table and went to walk away because he had just come over to sign divorce papers that I was supposed to print out. And he went to walk away, and I supposedly, I guess, grabbed the knife and came after him. And so we were stumbling around and stuff like that. And then he somehow stabbed me. And then he wanted to call the ambulance, and he wanted to call the police and let them know what happened. And I said, no, no, no. And he admitted to doing some of the Google searches, but none of the ones where he searched a way to kill me. It was very interesting. He actually said from the stand, I don't need to search how to kill someone. I know how to do that.
Okay.
And then he went on to say something about he reads the books. I guess there's some type of murder criminal books that is descriptive on how to kill people. So it was funny. The detective there knew what he was talking about book wise, but so that was a very interesting thing to say from the stand, that he didn't need to Google all those things. But the prosecutor would go through some of the searches, and he'd be like, yeah, I searched binoculars because I saw something on National Geographic and they talked about these binoculars, and I wanted to see how much they were, and those were actually the ones I bought, but I was bird watching. I wasn't watching her. And I did take one of those videos of her apartment, but I didn't take the other two. I just took the shorter one that was like 30 seconds, not the 2 minutes or the longer ones. He said, he searched homeless shelters in Phoenix because he was out of money, but he didn't search, how to screw somebody that was not willing to, he didn't
I can't
search.
believe this is on Google, first of all.
Oh, I know.
Oh, God.
He said, well, I didn't use a screwdriver. So, that just shows that those searches weren't mine.
Yeah, totally.
So he tried to, his whole thing was that he tried to, I guess, say that I had his iCloud login. And so I logged in and searched all these things, not the ones that he searched, but the other ones. And the prosecutor tried to get him to understand that it wasn't searched from the cloud, it was searched from the actual phone.
Right.
And only the person that had the phone would have been able to search that. But
yeah,
he didn't understand that, and it didn't make sense. And so that was kind of his thing, was that he was set up and that the dog was not there. during the whole attack, and somebody put the dog in the apartment in between when we left and when the cops got there. And so the public defender was just a joke. I mean, they were all about the dog, and did you see the dog? And well, where was the dog when my mom finally came in? And the dog she couldn't find her. And then finally the dog was on the couch. And so the public defender said, well, was there blood on the couch? And she said, no. And he goes, oh, well, that's interesting. Okay, we're talking like 6 to 8 hours later, after it happened, she had laid in my blood and then was somewhere and went on the couch. The blood was dry, so it was very interesting for them to try to come up with things and say things. And
how did they get around the fact that he admitted it all when he was captured initially?
So he said that we all came up with a story that we would say, and that he now wants to tell the truth and not say that story, because if we all said the same story, then he wouldn't get in trouble and nobody would get in trouble. But now he's in trouble, and so he's wanting to tell the truth. But he really didn't say exactly who he thought did it, or he kind of tried to implement that it was like myself that did it to myself, or that my brother and my mom was there and they did it to me, and we tried to pin it on him. So it was just a lot. And we had a week kind of recess because of some trainings or something that the attorneys had to go to. And he was up right before that. And he had a huge hissy fit because he thought he was going to have that whole week to kind of prepare. And he had to go on the stand for a little bit beforehand. And so he's like, I'm not prepared. I don't feel like I have enough time to, go through what I'm going to say on the stand. And so,
the truth needs time.
Yeah. He tried to fire his public defender, all these things. He said he needed handcuffs put on because he didn't want to hurt anybody. It was pretty insane. So, the sentencing, I couldn't have been happier with just seeing it all. I mean, there was 5 highly decorated sheriffs with AK-15s and body cams and tasers. And I mean, it was a lot. I think everybody thought he was going to do something, including everybody on my side too. So,
really? But he was okay. He took it okay.
Yeah, it's pretty sick how okay he was. Just even with when the sentence came for all of them, he was just I don't know, not even
no expression.
No, and it's interesting. I've heard people say that their eyes got different, or their eyes didn't look like them, or their eyes kind of glazed over and they could see the devil or hell in their eyes. And I never saw that. I mean, it was just him.
It's just who he is. So so this is years later that he's on the stand and you're in the same room with him. So it's been years since you've been in the same room. How was that to deal with emotionally when you first saw him? Did he make eye contact? Did he attempt to intimidate you? How did that go between the two of you?
He kept looking. So I actually did, I think I mentioned this a little bit on the last one, but I did some work with Laura, with Benaveri counseling. Yes. And kind of did some sand art and some trauma stuff to kind of stay in the present and really work on that, because I was a little just worried about being on the stand. But I actually felt empowered, and I think I looked at him and towards him more than he did, because every time he looked at me, I would be looking at him. And I remember one time on the stand, I looked at him and he looked right at me, and I thought, okay, whoever stops looking first loses. And so I just glared at him, and I remember he looked away first, and I was like, yeah, you don't scare me, try it again, buddy, because you won't live this time.
Good for you.
Oh yeah, it was more empowering, and I really wanted to be there because I wanted the jury to see me. I wanted the jury to know that, I was there and I want them to hear and I want them to see, I mean, it was hard emotionally a lot of times to hear the different people too. There was one gal, the domestic violence rape gal that did the examination and everything. They don't take pictures because you have to go to like the family advocate office. And so they use the police pictures. So she had a diagram of the whole body. And it was like a 3 or 4 hour thing where she went over every single like mark and bruise and thing on my body. And it was really, really hard to like hear that and see the pictures and, just hear it described as like, horrific. Like, she goes, I mean, I have X's and, marks all on her right arm because there were so many bruises. I couldn't distinguish what, it was just draw the whole thing because it was so bruised up,
Wow. Did you almost feel like that wasn't you?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I felt almost like it's kind of a story that I'm watching, but then, I have to kind of just bring myself back and say like, I fought for my life and like, that's why I'm here. And sometimes I don't think that that's so important. I mean, I did what I had to do to stay alive. And a lot of people don't do that. It's very interesting. And the more I look into it and have been learning and have been kind of watching different series and things like that, they don't fight back, and I think that comes into, the fight or flight or freeze type thing. I don't know. I was just a fighter, I didn't freeze. I didn't, I mean, I fought hard and, you can see all the bruises on me and him. And so, yeah.
Wow. So what advice do you have for other women out there that, I mean, let's hope this never happens to somebody ever again, but we know the world we live in. What advice do you have for somebody that might find themselves in the situation where the actual event is physically happening? I know that you had mentioned in part 1 about you had done a bunch of breath work. Is there anything else that you feel that was really helpful to you or that you kept in mind? Or, I mean, obviously life is very valuable for you and that's why you fought so hard. And I can see why. I mean, I can see, obviously we're all so grateful to have you here and you've touched so many lives and you are such a valuable part of the community. Just, personally with our friendship, I think everybody probably knows we're friends. And then, in the community as a whole. But what other things can you think of, if anything, and it's so hard, right? Because Steve Branch from Mindset Survival always says, like, you're going to revert to your lowest level of training or something like that. Is, I'm probably butchering it, but it's something like that is what he says. And so it's not like we don't train for this kind of thing.
And that would be my first advice, would be like, even if you think it's never going to happen, you need to figure out how to protect yourself, because it's better to be prepared than not prepared. And that does not mean that you have to carry a gun if you're not comfortable with that. It doesn't mean you have to carry a taser. There's multiple ways and things to do. I would say take a self-defense class. If you're local, look up, our self-defense class that we're going to have and come. This one's completely complimentary, and it's never too early to learn something. You may never use it, you may never need it, but learning how to get your wrist out of somebody's grip, you may never need it, but you might. And it's better to know, where to kick someone, how to defend yourself, how to get someone's hands off of your neck, different things like that. I mean, that's the first thing. Don't be naive, because, like you said, we are living in a scarier world now, and you never know. I scare people, but you're naive if you think that it can't happen to you.
100%. 100%. Do you think that, and again, I'm not advocating to carry or advocating not to carry. You know, my personal situation and what I do.
Mhm.
But do you think that if you would have had a gun or a taser or something on you, do you think you would have had time to use it? Or do you think that would have been more beneficial for you?
I don't know that at that point, I don't feel like I would have been prepared to use it. I had never taken a self-defense class. You know, there was actually a time in the kitchen where he didn't have the knife he stabbed me with. He got the knife block and got a really long butcher knife out, and just shoved it to me and said, "Here, just kill me. Just take my life now, because I don't want to be alive." And I remember thinking to myself, like, I don't even know how to kill someone. Like,
Yeah.
how do you stop this? How do you, not that I want to kill someone, but how do you give yourself enough time to get away? And so I just remember saying, like, no, I love you. I would never kill you. That's absolutely ridiculous. But I think if I would have been more prepared, for instance, the iPhones have, emergency calls, and you can do the emergency alert, which I never knew about. You can
And
set
that
it up.
is, if you press, I think you depress the power button, correct?
Yeah, the side button 5 times. But you can, we don't have time to go into it, but you can Google it, and you can set up all your emergency contacts, and you can make it silent so it doesn't count it down. And that's something you should have, like your Apple Watch has it on it too. There's multiple things. There's also apps that, can be sounding alarms and things like that, to where you can keep your thumb on it when you're walking to your car. And if something happens, your thumb comes off, and it's a huge, like, very loud decibel alarm where people would hear it and see it, and, hopefully come and, help you. So, I would just say, like, be aware of your surroundings. I mean, Steve Branch is really great with, like, situational awareness. So when you go to a domestic violence class, make sure they teach you that too. We are such a society that's, like, always on our phone, always looking down, always,
Never looking around. Yeah.
right. And that's the one thing that people prey on. My aunt said somebody taught her, like, to always keep your key when you're walking to your car, like, in your fingers like that. So if you need to stab someone, you can stab someone. So there's things and weapons that you have at your disposal if you need them. Hopefully you never will, but you definitely need to be prepared, and I would say, like, for me, staying calm was huge, listening to what he said and what he wanted me to do was huge. And, my faith comes into it. Like, I prayed a lot. I prayed to get out. I prayed for ideas. And if that's not your thing, just thinking about things, learning things, trying to figure out a way. But for me, that was huge. That was, kind of that, and thinking about the people that I would be leaving behind. There was a time where I thought I was going to die, and my mom was the only thing that kind of gave me the fight to get him off of me at that one moment. So, I think that it's hard to get out of a situation that you're in. But the thing is, I heard someone say this a week or two ago, and it's like, you love the person, but you need to really love yourself more.
Yeah.
And, we, for one reason or another, women get in these situations. But the thing is that you are definitely worth more. And no man should talk down to you. No man should put you down. No man should put his hands on you. No man should control what you do, where you go, who you talk to, the money you spend, all of that is
No one, for that matter. No woman
Yep.
either. No
Yep.
mother, father, anybody.
Absolutely. Yep. So, it's not okay. And there are tons of resources and tons of things out there. And, it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to tell people about it. There's such a stereotype of, like, be quiet, don't tell anybody, don't say anything, and that's what we're trying to do, is really break that and tell people that it's okay to talk about it. And the more we talk about it, and the more we figure out ways to stop it, the less and less, hopefully, it's going to happen and going to be. So, You know, I mean, he's locked up now. He got life.
Which, yay.
Yes, it was a huge release. He does have the potential to put in for parole in 25 years. And if that happens, I'll go back and I'll tell my story and I'll say why I think he needs to stay in. Frankly, I don't think he's going to make it to 25 years, but you know,
right. It's jail life is rough.
Yeah.
And typically what I've heard from attorney friends that I have, and, you know, just through the grapevine, is when you have a sexual violence count against you, it's not taken very lightly in jail, just like, you know, crimes against women and children in that respect are not taken very lightly in jail. So I think you're probably right.
But what I learned, and I didn't know, is he will actually be put in a jail with other people that did that too.
Oh, really? So they have separated them so that they stop coming upon these jail fights and whatnot.
But I will tell you, he tried to kill himself once already. He attacked an officer, which is why the trial was postponed.
Oh, that's right.
So, you know, there's a lot of things that will say that he probably will end up killing himself or, you know, something like that. So who knows? But, you know, I feel a relief that I don't have to worry about it. Now, that doesn't mean I won't look over my shoulder, because I know that he has tried to have people kill me from the inside. And, you know, I know how to protect myself and I know how to shoot a gun. And, you know, I think that is an important thing, no matter what, whether you have been or have not been in a situation, you know, just being able to protect yourself, because there unfortunately are a lot of people out there that you don't know who they are, you know.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think one thing that you said that I feel is so important and really is kind of the basis of probably you escaping is that self-love. And that's that self-respect. And hey, I am worth something here and I love myself. Like loving yourself is not bad, people. Okay. Like it's not selfish. It's not, yes. I mean, you can get into some stuff that is not healthy, but for the most part, loving and caring for yourself and appreciating your value is not a bad thing. I feel like, and where does that even come from? I don't know, but I feel like, you know, there's this idea out there that putting yourself first in a healthy way and loving yourself and valuing yourself is like somehow a bad thing. I don't even get it.
I think it goes back to trauma, and it goes back to, you know, I mean, I've done a lot of studying, and I mean, I always have more to do, but, you know, trauma makes you think that you're less than. Trauma makes you think that, you know, you're not worthy. You're not, you know, whatever happened in your background, whether, you know, whether you had a great upbringing or not, there's little traumas and there's big traumas. It's anything, you know, I heard a really good definition, and I might mess this up, but anything that doesn't go the way your brain expects it to go can be a trauma.
Yeah.
And, you know, it can be a little trauma, like, you know, your dad not coming home or not showing up at school, or your mom not showing up at school at the time you thought they were, and you being left by yourself, to, you know, someone trying to kill you, you know, but they affect you differently, you know. And so I think the biggest thing is people taking personal responsibility. And no matter what happened to you in the past, there comes a time where you are responsible for you. You're responsible for your actions, your decisions, and you're responsible to make your life better. And so, you know, counseling is not a bad thing at all. You know, people say, I don't want to go to counseling. It's bad. They're going to make me do things. You know, you to be a person that's not being in the victim mindset or having a victim mindset, or, you know, well, this happened to me and it's this person's fault. It might be that person's fault that they didn't raise you right, or that they abused you, or that they weren't there for you. But there comes a time where you have to say, okay, what can I do to empower myself and to go, you know, from the victim triangle to the empowerment triangle, and really take personal responsibility and decide what you want for life, because there's only so long that you can blame somebody else for your actions. You know, you have to make a decision. And if you continue to go down that route and to not learn who you are and learn self-love and self-worth, and, you know, it's been really interesting. I owe everything to MOMnation because I have met so many incredible women in MOMnation. And I met a gal named Candace from our Compassion Mamas group that we have, our trauma group. We have one every Wednesday night. Every other Wednesday night. It meets. You're more than welcome to send us a message and we can give you more information on that. But I met a gal through there, and it's just kind of been, the doors have been opened, and both of us are very passionate about healthy relationships. And so, we're working on a nonprofit where we're going to help women, be courageous and fearless and learn self-love and confidence and what a good relationship is and how to not get into a relationship that's bad, and, be able to protect themselves and things like that. So the first thing that we're doing is that self-defense class. And, it's just come together. I love how everybody just supports everybody, like you mentioned something to Steve last night. Steve called me today, and, he's so gracious, and that is kind of the basis of his program. And so he wants to do it. He wants to help us. He's not charging us, which is incredible.
Wow.
And so, we're going to find a location and we're going to do it, and we hope to have a lot of people there. And it's awesome that we don't have to charge, women and people to come, because it's going to make it available to more people, and I'm hoping that more people will be open to getting that and learning that and knowing how to protect themselves. So
totally agree. So let me get this straight. So you're supporting domestic violence awareness. You're coaching women on how to love themselves, which includes their physical body, right? Because, if you don't recognize Sara, we've had her on a couple of times, and Sara lost 83 pounds, and it was like a really incredible, inspirational story. And so you are now coaching people to do that. You're starting a nonprofit. You're partnering with Steve at Mindset Survival to bring more awareness and to bring affordable education to moms. You're doing all this amazing stuff, Sara.
And I book travel, here and there.
That's true. Plus that, I'm missing so many things. My goodness.
And plan lots of fun events for everyone to come to.
You do. Just truly an amazing part of our community. We need more Saras out there in the world, that's for sure. And, thank you from the bottom of my heart for putting yourself out there and for, doing and caring enough for other people that you don't even know, strangers, like for caring enough to really put yourself all feet, all in, and really help society as a whole. So thank you so much. I've got a cough.
Well, I love that I found MOMnation and I've been able to get involved, and I kind of have something that I live by. I want everybody to be seen. I think maybe back in my past in school or something, I always felt like I wasn't seen, and so I try every person that I meet to just see them and let them know that I see them and that they're worth it and they're loved and cherished. And so that's kind of how I live my life. And I try to have a listening ear and, just am there for anybody. And I've had people message me on Facebook, random strangers, and, ask for help. And I've helped them, just tell me their story. I love meeting and connecting with anybody, it's just an honor. And I've met so many amazing mamas and, women in MOMnation that it's been awesome.
Well, thank you. And thank you for being a huge, huge part of it all. So your business, I guess, that's what it's like the umbrella for all of these things that she does. So I don't know if some of it should be labeled as a business. I don't know, but that's the only word that I know to describe it. So your business is Warrior Coaching. That is your brand, I should say. That is your brand. And so real quick, how can we connect with Warrior Coaching?
Yeah, so you can look me up on Facebook, Warrior Coaching Sara. I have a website, warriorcoaching.life. You can look me up on Instagram, Warrior Coaching Sara. And you can always send me a message and we can, look at doing, I have a digital health assessment that we can do, and then we can kind of talk about the different options. I feel very strongly that a lot of times women lack confidence because they don't like looking at themselves in the mirror. And so it starts really with trying to help you with that, and then really working through mindset and working on, self-love, and kind of then going, I'm by no means a licensed counselor at all. And so I always recommend going to counseling, but I have dealt with a lot myself and have learned a lot of tools and a lot of things. And we practice, Dr. Wayne Anderson has the Habits of Health transformational system. And so we work on like transforming one habit at a time. And so, I've done that going on 5 years now. And I absolutely love helping others see that and work through the elements and the steps and the habits, and, just helping people start to like have the confidence again and love themselves, and, be able to look in the mirror and see something they like instead of something that they don't.
Totally agree. Well, you were amazing at it. And again, thank you so much for being here.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for everything that you do for our community and for our personal friendship. It's been such an inspiration to know you. And I'm excited to see where things go from here. Congratulations on the sentencing. I know that was a long time coming, and you were, really, really eager to know and to kind of close that chapter, and to know how it would close.
Yes.
So when you write your book, I'm sure that's going to be a really interesting one.
Yes.
And if you out there are interested in being a guest like Sara is on this show, please follow us at MOMnation USA is our handle. We are on Facebook, we are on YouTube, we are on Instagram. Send us a like and or give us a like and send us a message. Let us know why you would like to be on the show. You can also, on your favorite podcast platform, look up MOMnation Talk Radio. This show, From the Heart, is there every other week. We push it through that channel as well. So please do, while you're there, subscribe, download, and rate us so that we can help get this information out to the mamas, the women that really need to hear it. Thank you so much, Sara.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.